What is up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. I thought it'd be fun to take you along the entire planning process of my next Disney trip. We're 43 days away. This trip is very exciting because I am partnering with Simple Magic Travel Company, and I cannot wait to take you along the whole process to share what it's like to book a trip with them. And I have actually never used a travel agent to book a Disney trip. I know, shocking. For as much as we go to Disney, I have, for whatever reason, never booked with a travel agent. And now that I'm thinking about it, it's probably because I consider myself to be pretty knowledgeable about Disney World. And so I feel very confident booking a Disney trip. I know exactly what I want, how I want to book it, how I want to plan it. And so I've never really felt the need for a travel agent, but I was really curious about the whole experience. And Simple Magic was a travel company that I had been following along with for a little while, and I've become really good friends with the two owners, Kayla and Savannah. So we put our heads together and we are collaborating on a portion of this Disney trip. So I get to share the entire process of what it's like to book a Disney trip with Simple Magic and go through day one all the way up until your Disney trip and through your trip. What is it like to actually work with a travel agency? So I'm very excited. The first step, of course, was landing on dates, which was easy because I knew that I wanted to be there for opening day of Festival of the Arts. And this is also a trip where it's just me and Ellie Rose, so it's just the two of us. I also knew that I wanted to be really close to Epcot because of the festival. I just wanted to have that easy access to and from the park. So Simple Magic sent over my quote, which included a few different resort options that they thought would be a really good fit for me and Ellie based on my preferences, my style, and the priorities we had for this trip, which was really cool to kind of look through and see like, oh yeah, all of these resorts would be a really great fit for this trip. But we landed on Caribbean Beach because it has that really easy access to Epcot with the Skyliner, and I'm really, fingers crossed, hoping for one of the new rooms in Trinidad. We will see if that happens, but either way, they did let me know that all of the rooms now have had a soft goods refurb, so it doesn't feel quite as dark and dingy at Caribbean Beach. Everything is a little bit brighter and lighter now with the new paint and, you know, just looks a little bit more fresh. So no matter what, I'm really excited about Caribbean Beach. So that's gonna be the first portion of my trip, and I'm really excited about it. So after we got that all booked and squared away, then I was able to get started on the actual planning process. So this is where Simple Magic really can step in as much or as little as you need them to. So it's really cool being able to see, like, if I'd never been to Disney World ever, they walk you through everything step by step and make it so practical and so simple. And they really do make it to where anyone can feel equipped to plan a Disney trip based on no knowledge at all. Or if you're like me and you're like, okay, I've been to Disney a dozen times, I don't necessarily need someone to walk me through everything step by step, then they can be that too. So I'm really excited to walk through this whole planning process with Simple Magic and have someone kind of take the reins for me, which is gonna be really nice. I've never experienced that before, so this trip is gonna be a little bit different in that sense, where I might not have to think about as many of the details as I normally do when I plan my own trips. So I'm pretty excited about it, but I have booked my flights. That's where I'm at with the planning process. We've booked our resort. We're staying at Caribbean Beach. I've booked my flights, and you know, I guess I could start the dining reservation process. I like to do things a little more last minute. That's just kind of my style. Anything that pops up like day of or night before, that's when I typically tend to grab reservations. I'm not necessarily like ready to go. Well, obviously I'm past the 60-day mark, so that wouldn't be an option anyway, but I'm not like, you know, every day like refreshing the dining tab on my app, like seeing what's available. I usually just grab things kind of as they pop up, day before or day of, or we just pack lunches or do quick service. So that's kind of what we're doing for this trip. And we're going to be spending a lot of time at Festival of the Arts. So I probably won't be making reservations at Epcot or like any of our time there. And that's pretty much it. So I'm doing my first 3 nights at Caribbean Beach. And then here's the big part. I added on 2 more nights, but I'm doing 1 night at Polynesian and 1 night at Beach Club. But here's where it gets even better. I'm doing club level at Beach Club on our last night. So that is like major splurge, huge treat. So our last 2 nights are gonna be a little crazy, like switching resorts. We'll be going from Caribbean Beach, Polynesian to Beach Club, but I'm very excited and I cannot wait to bring you guys along through the rest of this process. So again, we're 43 days out and I'm gonna do some check-ins, you know, as we're leading up to the trip, but that is it. I think that's all I have to share for today. Of course, you know, as we get closer, I'll have a little bit more to share, but yeah, I will check back in later on in the planning process. All right, we are 27 days away from our trip, so we are much closer, but I wanted to share the next thing on my to-do list, which is to book our private transportation to and from the airport. This is actually something that Simple Magic sent me an email to remind me of. So they actually in the email kind of broke down all of my transportation options with cost breakdowns and everything, which was really helpful to see. I have my transportation company that I love and that I partner with every single trip, so I'm gonna go ahead and book them, but it is really nice having someone to email you that reminder and to offer all of the options for you. So, and they can obviously help you book whatever kind of transportation you want to and from the airport. And then I also was browsing some last minute dining options. Obviously, time slots are limited right now, being 27 days away. So I went ahead and got a couple of dining reservations set up on Mouse Dining. So I would love, on the day that we're staying at Polynesian, I would love to eat at Kona Cafe. There were a bunch of 8 to 9 p.m. reservations available, but obviously that's not ideal with a preschooler. I'm looking more towards like 5 or 5:30, something where we could get up from quiet time, go have dinner at Kona, and then head over to Magic Kingdom and just do that early dinner time slot. And the reason I'm trying to get Kona Cafe and not Ohana, it's not because Ohana isn't a great restaurant. I think it's a really great character dining option for a lot of families, but for us, with the pricing for the kids meal and where Ellie's at right now with just being so picky and not really wanting to eat much of anything except like 2 items when we're on a Disney vacation, I know her so well. She's not gonna eat anything at Ohana, so I figured, why spend the money to do this, you know, big elaborate meal at Ohana when we could spend a little bit less and just go to Kona, and she's more likely to eat something off the kids meal over there, or I'll just pack her a sandwich or something like that. So that's the reason I'm wanting to do Kona and not Ohana. The other reservation that I set up an alert for through Mouse Dining is, I'm blanking now, hang on, is Tony's at Magic Kingdom. Apparently Tony's has made a comeback and we've eaten there once before and it was okay, but I'm definitely eager to try it again. So kind of the same thing with Tony's. There were a lot of late lunch reservations and then late dinner reservations like 9 o'clock. And then there were some like 2 and 3 p.m. Obviously those times don't work great for me either. So I set a 5:30 alert for Mouse Dining. So those are the 2 reservations that I would love to snag. And I'm sure at some point leading up to the trip, I'll get the reservation. So I'm not concerned about it at all. People cancel all the time, especially leading up to like the week of your trip, especially the day before, 2 days before. A bunch of different reservation options are gonna pop up. So I'm not worried about it at all, but I'm gonna go ahead and book my private transportation and get that request sent in so that that can be squared away. Everything else right now, you're pretty much just coasting until, you know, the couple of weeks right before your trip when you actually start pulling things together and like packing and all of that fun stuff. But you know, the couple of months leading up to your trip, other than finalizing dining reservations, booking your private transportation, flights are booked, your resort is squared away, you have finalized your itinerary. So that is definitely something else I can share. But other than that, again, you're really just coasting until you get closer to your trip. But one thing I have been loving about working with Simple Magic on this trip is through this coasting portion of the Disney trip, you know, leading up to your trip, is going through their Magic Made Simple course. So I have my own private login and it has been really fun, even as a Disney expert, going through this course and getting to read through everything that they do to help equip you for your Disney trip. There are so many free resources and I mean, it's just endless Disney information, and they break it up to where it's in bite-sized pieces. It's not overwhelming, but they really, again, they help equip you so that when you show up to Disney World, you're not just in the dark and someone else did everything for you. They really draw you in to be a part of the process, to when you show up to Disney World, you fully understand and know Disney with the help of another Disney expert. So it's been really, really cool going through this course, and it kind of helps like tie you over in, again, in that coasting portion of the planning process where there's not much else you can do during your countdown. It just adds to the excitement leading up to your trip, and it gives you something fun to look forward to, you know, every few days to go through this course and just learn more information about Disney World. And again, the whole process of going to Disney. So I'm gonna go ahead and book my private transportation. And then as we get a little bit closer, I'll share more about what our itinerary looks like and kind of how I've structured this trip. I'll share that in another clip as we get a little bit closer, but I'm gonna do transportation. All right, we're 9 days away. This is about the time when I start to finalize my trip itinerary, make sure everything is good to go, make any last minute little tweaks, add in a dining reservation, remove one, like, you know, really go through my schedule and make sure that it is good to go. And all I do is I use the note section on my phone just because this is the easiest thing to manage and make quick changes and adjustments to. And then once I have everything finalized, then I do like to go through and actually write out my schedule on like a hard copy and print it out. I just think that's really fun and just part of the whole Disney planning experience, you know? So I'll have the one that I use linked down below, and you can print it out and write out your schedule. And, you know, it has all the fun little things that you can jot down for dining and top priorities for the day and notes and things like that, just to stay organized for each day of your trip. So I will have that linked. But one thing I wanted to talk about is the planning call that I just had with Simple Magic and my amazing travel agent. So what Simple Magic does is they can be as hands-on or hands-off with your schedule and itinerary as you want them to be. So for me, you know, I don't necessarily need help walking through my schedule day by day and like piecing things together. But if this was my very first Disney trip and I had no clue, how do I even structure my days? What parks should I go to on which days? I could hop on this call and my travel agent, who is incredible, could walk me through that whole process and create an itinerary for me and send that to me. But because that isn't necessarily something that I need personally, you know, I just hopped on the call and it was fun to chat about the process. But that is something that Simple Magic offers that I really love. So again, if that's something you need, they offer it. If you want to create your own schedule and you're a Disney pro, then you can totally skip that piece. One thing I do want to talk about is how I've created my schedule, because as many times as we go to Disney, I still go with a schedule and an itinerary and a game plan every single trip. I have actually attempted the wing it style trip because, oh, I'm a pro, I'm an expert. Like, you know, I don't need to have this planned out. I'm just going to show up. And, you know, of course, this was a couple years ago when I did this, and I ended up feeling so lost on that trip. And it was a trip with me and Andy, and we just had no idea, like, well, what do you want to do next? Well, where do you want to go? And we spent so much time trying to figure out what the other person wanted to do that, you know, we could have had it all mapped out to begin with, and we could have avoided all of that. So long story short, I never go to Disney without an itinerary and without a game plan. And of course, as an annual pass holder, I do still have to make park reservations. So, you know, there's that element of it as well. But I thought it would be interesting to actually go through my itinerary, you know, not like hour by hour, but give you kind of an idea of how I structure each day and how I coordinate our parks and all of that. So I am gonna go through the schedule that I've typed out on my phone in the notes section and give you an idea of, you know, how I plan this out. So on our travel day, I usually play that day by ear. That is the one day of our trip that I don't make dining reservations, and we'll decide day of if we do want to go to a park that evening. Again, as an annual pass holder, that is one really nice perk that, you know, I don't have to worry about buying. Do I buy a ticket? Do I not buy a ticket for our travel day? You know, if we want to pop in for fireworks that night, we totally can. If it doesn't work out and we're just too tired and we want to hang at the resort and just settle in, we can do that as well. So I don't really make plans for our travel day. So the next day is Thursday. We are going to head to Hollywood. So because we are staying at Caribbean Beach, I made sure to prioritize Epcot and Hollywood time while we're right on the Skyliner. So that was kind of the deciding factor between eliminating 2 out of the 4 parks at least for that first day. So we're gonna do Hollywood on Thursday. The next day is the very first day of Festival of the Arts. So of course that day I had already decided we are gonna do Epcot. So that is why I had that day kind of already set in stone, and then I'm able to kind of fill in the rest of our park days from there. The next day we actually check out of Caribbean Beach and we are heading over to the Polynesian. So that's gonna be our Magic Kingdom day. So you can see how I've kind of coordinated our park day with our resort location and what's gonna be the most convenient. So that's gonna be our Magic Kingdom day. The next day we check out again. So a lot of moving pieces towards the end of our trip. We're checking out of Polynesian and going over to the Beach Club. And again, we'll be over at Epcot taking advantage of that really amazing location right on Crescent Lake. So that is how I've structured our park days, and then we'll see if I sprinkle in some Animal Kingdom time. That's kind of the only park that, unless you're at Animal Kingdom Lodge, it's never super convenient to get to. So no matter where you're staying, again, unless you're at Animal Kingdom Lodge, you know, you just take the bus and you just do it. So we'll see kind of if we're able to sprinkle in Animal Kingdom time, but I'm definitely coordinating, you know, being on the Skyliner, being at Polynesian, and kind of piecing it together from there. And I do have a couple of dining reservations that I'm planning on, but outside of that, I do keep it very loose. So even though I have an idea of, okay, this is the day that we are gonna go to Hollywood Studios, we're gonna try to be out the door at this time, I have a lunch reservation, but outside of that, I keep it very, very flexible, especially with a preschooler, and really making a lot of decisions based on what she needs. If she's feeling great and she can stay in the park a little bit later in the afternoon, then great. If I can tell that we need to head back earlier and have some quiet time back in the room, we can do that as well. So really playing it by ear because I've left a little bit of margin in our day to stay flexible. Another piece of the trip planning process for me personally that I really don't talk about a ton because I don't know, I figured not many people would be interested in this, but I'm gonna go ahead and talk about it, is my content calendar. So just as much as I have a schedule and an itinerary for our trip and how our park days are gonna go, I also have a content calendar. So I know going into the trip exactly what videos I'm going to film every single day for YouTube. So because this is my job, I go into my trip knowing in advance what I'm gonna film, whether it's an Instagram reel or a YouTube video, like whatever piece of content I need to get, I map that out well in advance. So I have a calendar for every single day. I wake up, you know, day 1, day 2, day 3, and I know the videos that I'm gonna film. So I cannot go into my trip just with my camera in hand, having no plan, because that just never goes well. I have to have this mapped out well in advance. I know exactly what videos I'm gonna film each day. I know when they're gonna be posted. I even try to have a title for each video already planned out before I even film the video. I know exactly what I'm gonna title the video. I have an idea of what the thumbnail is gonna be. So again, you know, not a piece of the planning process that many people have to take into consideration, but for me personally, this is a huge piece of how I'm able to continue going to Disney and documenting our trips. And, you know, it's just another part of the planning process for me. So I thought it'd be interesting to share because I don't know if anyone has ever wondered, if, you know, if that's something that I plan in advance or if I just show up and start filming and hit record and come home. And, you know, it's very well thought out in advance. So I don't know if that is interesting to anyone, but now you know. All right, we're 4 days out. I can't believe it. I have so much to do still, but I wanted to do one last little check-in for this plan and prep vlog. So the last thing I wanted to share is this very exciting folder that my amazing travel agent with Simple Magic sent over. So Kayla, thank you so much. You have been incredible. So I'm gonna share, this came in the mail last week and I really haven't had time to like sit and go through it because I've been so busy, but I wanted to share everything that she sent over. So the first thing in here is a bunch of park maps, which is so helpful if you are headed to Disney for the very first time, haven't been in several years, and you want to get a lay of the land. I like that they send like an actual hard copy of the maps. I feel like it's way easier to like lay out in front of you and to have a visual hard copy of the parks is so helpful. I wouldn't have even thought to have a hard copy of the map, which is amazing. And then all of this is my resort confirmation numbers, payment information. And then on this side, she sent over the sweetest little note. So Kayla, I hope you don't mind that I'm reading this. Bekah, thank you for allowing me to be a part of your special trip for you and Ellie Rose. You are such a joy and I'm so lucky to be able to call you a friend. Have an amazing trip. I hope this is one that brings a ton of special memories, Kayla. Super sweet. Oh, Kayla, you are just the best. Okay, and then the last thing in here is this little packet. So just super like very aesthetically pleasing, you know, which I appreciate. So this first thing is all of my trip details, all about our resort. She put in a room request for me, like multiple times actually, which is amazing that I didn't even have to think about that she went ahead and did that for me, which is so nice. And then this next sheet here is my daily itinerary. We kind of chatted through, I know I mentioned the itinerary piece, but we did chat through just kind of an overview of my plans. So she went ahead and typed everything out for me with reservation numbers and, you know, everything. This little sheet with a bunch of amazing, helpful reminders all about Genie Plus, your My Disney Experience account, if you need to cancel a dining reservation, just all kinds of helpful reminders. And then she also included a packing list. So this is really nice. Again, a really helpful tool to have a physical hard copy, something that I can like check off. So that is amazing. And then a little place for notes or any little thing that I want to write out about my trip and travel with. So this is incredible. So this got mailed directly to me. And again, it's another one of those just like little touches that adds to the excitement of getting ready for your Disney trip. So having something like this come in the mail where it's all of your information, your itinerary and maps and reminders and a packing list, like it's just so fun. Like planning a Disney trip is so fun, and Simple Magic, I feel like takes it to another level where they're not just like, okay, great, have a great time. It's like they are with you every step of the way and they go the extra mile to like learn everything about your family and what you're wanting to get out of this vacation and what's a priority and what's not, and you know how they can help you create the ideal trip for your family. It feels so personalized and not just like, oh, someone booked this for me, you know, like they truly care. And I think that's why I have loved this whole experience. Thank you again, Simple Magic, for making the planning process to this trip so fun and easy and exciting. So if you are looking for a top-notch Disney travel agent, I'm gonna have my vacation quote request form with Simple Magic down below in the description box. But I'm gonna end it here and switch things over to the packing portion of this trip. So thank you guys so much for following along through the planning process of this trip. I hope this was helpful. If you did enjoy, I would love for you to stick around and subscribe for all of the Disney vlogs I have coming from this trip and more down the road as well. And go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. It really helps support my channel. Thanks again, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye guys.